This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Saturday, and welcome to a little impromptu pop-up edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk live from Winnipeg Jets Fan Fest. Andrew Paterson, Michael Remis with you here, and man, we have had such a great day. This has been an amazing turnout of Winnipeg Jets fans here for the annual Fan Fest. Lots going on the ice and lots going on off the ice. Got a chance to get the first look at the Jets' new third jersey, which we'll fire up in just a moment. Mike McIntyre is going to jump on with us in a few minutes as well. Talk about what we've been seeing on the ice as training camp continues. And, our pal Kyle Ballharry from the Jets as well is here. We just kind of finished up all the tech stuff with the launch of the jersey. So we'll have Balls pop by a little later on and a look ahead to the home opener and everything else he and his staff have cooking for the upcoming season. Remo, what's going on? Have you enjoyed yourself? Is your arm tired from signing so many autographs?
Yeah, this has been great coming out, meeting so many people who are listeners, signed a couple autographs. We handed out a bunch of stickers here. This has been a blast. So really happy to be part of Fan Fest. Thanks to the Jets. I've done a great job, letting us come here and set up and meet everyone. This has been a great time and a great kickoff to the upcoming Jet season.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is just for us. I mean, from Winnipeg Sports Talk perspective, I mean, just a great chance for us to kind of get out there and see and meet a lot of our regular listeners and viewers in person. And I got to tell you, I mean, it's. And we've talked to fans that love the show from 70 to 7 today. And it's been really neat. I mean, obviously, we're quite familiar with many of the regulars that are in the chat each and every day. But, man, we've met so many new folks today. And, the one common denominator is everyone seems to be having a lot of fun. By the way, listen, we are Winnipeg. We are Winnipeggers. We all have great deals. Remis approved deals as well in the Jets Pro Shop. I have to admit, I did a little shopping today and got a few good things for the upcoming season. Jersey folks, and I guess we'll get to this in just a second. But they planned this out very well. They had all the fans here. They launched the new jersey, and then as people were leaving the other rink where the announcement was made, Dave Blackmore and his staff were rolling out all the new ones for people that wanted to be the first one to get it. So lots going on. We'll focus on the hockey club and what's happening on the ice and stories around the team with Mike in a second. Remo, but let's take a chance to show everyone these jerseys for the first time. I'm sure most people have probably seen them from either watching the announcement live or on Twitter. But here it is, gang. Your first look on WST at this new third jersey. The baby blue, the Rondell logo. This is a Cole Perfetti. Pretty sick names and numbers. Based on the 1948 Olympic champions from the RCAF. Mark Chipman spoke to this earlier today. And it's some interesting backstories about when they decided to go with the name Jets. Obviously with the uniforms and to give it all meaning, there was a connection with the 17 wing here in Winnipeg in the RCAF, and obviously an incredible hockey history with the RCAF, with the team being named the Jets. There was a lot of connection there, and that jersey, I can tell you, there's been sort of different variations of this a couple times with the Moose. The first one was, I believe, in 2008, and I don't think I'm speaking out of turn when I say it was the most popular third jersey the Moose did over a long period of time. And they actually did another version of this with the Angry Moose logo in the 21-22 season. But as far as truly bringing that, kind of Air Force history of the Jets together with the jersey, this is the first time we'll see it in the National Hockey League. I believe the team's going to be wearing it 3 times this year. And we'll find out a little bit more from Balls when he pops by about all of that. But as usual, Reem, with anything that is announced or new, and I thought Connor did a great tweet on this, reaction is everything from awesome to awful, and there's never any in between. So if you like it, they're on sale. If not, don't worry about it. They're only wearing it 3 times.
Yeah, it was pretty well done. They announced the jersey, and literally after they announced it, people are putting them on the racks there at the Jets gear. And I think they look sharp. I like the baby blue. We need a baby blue, and I think maybe there's more to it than the Aviator. I like how it has the Jets logo. The numbering, I'm a big guy, Huss, when it comes to jerseys. Unique number fonts, and this hits the mark. And they are going to be wearing the brown gloves. This is going to be made to look old school. I mean, again, this modeled after the 1948 Olympic champions. And as we understand, and you can see that picture that Adam Lowry's wearing in the pulpit, the fly of the 48. Wearing those brown gloves. So I think it'll be a great look. I love all the hot takes, one way or the other, coming right out of the gate. But as you say, you can see it a little bit more if you expand that photo for the folks. The gloves, the brown gloves, to go along with this. I'm not sure about the pant look for the entire uniform, but there it is, fly the 48. With big Adam Lowry doing the thing. So overall, I mean, I have to admit, I did have a little sneak preview, so I knew what this was going to be. But when I knew that it was going to be designed somewhat after that 1948 Olympic champion bit, Reem, and it came as delivered, and certainly the people here, for the most part, everyone that I talked to seemed to really like them. The minute you start diving into the social media streets, there'll always be some folks that maybe are on the other side. But overall, there they are, and I did see many flying off the shelves, along with all the other great deals that the Pro Shop had set up on that other rink. Yeah, a lot of stuff going on here, Huss. We're at the rink with the Fun Zone rink. There's a bunch of bouncy castles and brand activations. I guess this is our official, our first brand activation. So we're handing out stickers, activation. Magnets. We're getting all that's a marketing term. Marketing terms. Yeah. And then the other rink, they had the stage, some interviews. I know Chevy and Rick Bonus are going to be going later. So this is an awesome. Oh yeah, and also guys on the ice, practices, people lining up, getting the chance to see their favorite player. I mean, it was I had to walk through the path where, it was so many people here. This is awesome to see. So I didn't sample a Jet Dog. Yeah, that's on my upcoming to-do list. Yeah, I definitely wanted to get in on a Jet Dog, but we've just been a little bit too busy. But hey, shout out to everybody in chat. I know we just sort of pulled this thing off and fired it up, and we were going to do it at a particular time, and then it was a bit later because of everything going on. But shout out to there's Bailey, and Bailey came by today. I think Bailey doing double duty. I'm not sure if she's here watching the show on her phone from we just here saw her. Or was just here. We got to see Bailey and both of her parents. We met her mom before, but dad of Bailey, great to meet him. And man, I mean, the list of WST listeners and viewers that have popped by to say hi is too long to mention, but shout out to everyone that came by, and great to see that. Speaking of brand activation, shout out to some of our hardcores, Bridget, Phyllis, the gang. Lots of WST merch running around, which was always a very nice thing to see as well. Yeah, I saw Dallas. Paul came by. We signed a picture. He printed out a glossy photo. Paul from Costco. Yeah, printed out a glossy photo of us, signed it. There's so many people here. It's been awesome shaking hands. And again, even people who saw, hey, Winnipeg Sports Talk, what is that? And, we have business cards that are handed out with a nice QR code, links to everything. So
you were here, folks.
Fun.
You could have come and got some of these great WST stickers. I didn't even know Remis ordered all this stuff, but I was ready.
I was ready.
Kids are loving it. And just before we get to Mike, for you, and again, folks, obviously you can't see, but we are 10 feet away from, I guess this is the big family. I know they're not calling it beer pong, it's something else pong, but it's in sort of an inflatable. There's the big bouncy castle, the slide. This must be the first time in the last 5 years that you've been anywhere close to these things and been able to basically relax and do something other than either chasing around or being on those items yourself.
I think my wife is coming with my son, and this is the time to come because everyone kind of cleared out. So I don't think there's going to be as huge lines for these bouncy castles as there were maybe earlier.
No doubt. And the event does go till 3. So, I mean, if you are sitting there watching going, now actually would be the time to go. I think we sort of hit the peak.
Yeah.
Certainly with the announcement and people will be heading out. There's still a ton of merch and tons of great deals in from the pro shop on the other side. And of course we've got another on ice session that is going to be getting going a little later on, and that'll go right until 3. So it might be a veteran move to come a little bit late today and jump in on that. We are going to bring Mike McIntyre in just a minute. And then, as I said, our balls will pop by a little later on. We'll get his take from the game production, marketing side. No one's more excited for the start of the season than Kyle, so I'm looking forward to having him on it. And, of course, Kyle goes back to the Moose days as well, as do I. So I do remember kind of the origination of these jerseys back in about 2008. We are going to have to turn the camera, which we will in a minute, but we can, via audio, welcome in Mike McIntyre, and Michael will head things around. What's going on there, Mr. McIntyre?
Well, you can hear. Busy day down here, Huss. I was a bit of a salmon swimming upstream, just trying to. I got on the wrong side of the walk that the Jets were doing between rinks here, and had to wait for traffic to clear to get over here.
It was a little nutso.
It was a little nuts.
Great turnout for this event.
And it didn't help that Nate Schmidt stopped and posed for about 100 selfies. A true man of the people. Rick Bonus did as well, and Adam Lowry just a couple of minutes ago got a hero's welcome. They love the new captain around here. So, it is. I just saw a kid in a Bufflin jersey go into the, I don't know if this is the bouncy castle. I'm trying to envision the damage Buff could have done in a bouncy castle. This kid doesn't have the size of the original Buff. Elbows up in the bouncy castle for sure. It's a great. We all covered this team, Huss, a couple of years during the COVID seasons when we were doing, interviews by Zoom with the players. Obviously, all of this didn't happen for a couple of years, and the team, in a way, lost that contact with the community, which everyone who born and raised here in Winnipeg, how important that is to the Jets. And so a day like this, you're kind of reminded of what the Jets mean to this community, because you see it everywhere. Just the excitement and the kids, seeing their hockey heroes up close and personal. And of course the big jersey announcement today, which I gotta laugh, Huss. It is just social media in a microcosm. I just took a quick peek at a few of the first replies to my tweet about the jersey. I haven't seen a single, I'm not sure what I think about it. I'm going to give it some time. It's either, I absolutely love it, it's the greatest thing ever, or what an abomination. And there's no middle ground. People feel It's just the hot takes.
I said that to Remis. I mean, people around here, for the most part, that we've talked to, have been around and really liked it. And especially, I think if you were there for the presentation, seeing what went into it.
Sure.
I mean, the connection between the Jets and the RCAF and the incredible history of that 1948 Olympic champion team.
Yep.
Might add a little bit more as opposed to just randomly putting this out. There's a lot that's gone into it. I mean, I think anyone that remembers, the Moose, pre-Jets did such a great job of coming up with some creative third jerseys and wearing them. And that one in 2008, which I think is really the prototype for this one, certainly was the most popular. But I'm the exact same with you. I mean, it's either 10 out of 10 or minus 15 out of 10, and there is no in between. But that's when you're mixing it up in these social media streets, Mike. Not a lot of just reasoned.
No.
Both sides. Takes. It's either coming in hard on one side or the other.
Now, for those the Jets are only wearing these 3 times this season. They're still going to have the Heritage jersey as the official third sweater, and they're wearing those 11 times. I know. Yeah. I get the sense people in this community, if you were to take a poll, I think by and large the majority really like the Heritage sweaters. Remember the Aviator jerseys? The Jets were terrible in those jerseys. They lost all the time. Those have disappeared entirely. But yeah, so 11 times in the Heritage, 3 times in these new alternate sweaters, and then I guess the remaining games in their regular home blues. Of course, it's what the team looks like on the ice. In terms of the between the whistle play than what they're sporting, that I suspect at the end of the day most fans care about. But it looked like there was a big line for purchases of the new jerseys. They, of course, have them on hand here.
Well, the timing was amazing. I mean, they had those ready. You know what? They did a pretty darn good job. Usually, when there's something like this being put out, whether it's somebody where they're getting made or they're getting thrown out, I mean, they didn't leak beforehand. The team did a good job of, I think, kind of keeping it under wraps, and then, got a chance to debut it today. And certainly, if you're judging by the people that are here and that are lined up to buy them, great stuff.
Pretty good reception.
There's literally nothing that there won't be some people that will shit on all over on social media. So,
for sure.
And to be perfectly honest with you, regardless of whether I love it, hate it, whatever, certainly not going to get too excited and take it to the social media streets for a jersey that's going to be worn for 3 games.
Right. I mean, it's certainly not worth losing any sleep over if you're on the camp of, you're not a big fan of them.
So anyways, those are there to do. We'll talk a little bit more about them with Kyle Balharry. We'll pop by a little later on, probably at around 1:30. And, we're going to put together probably 45 minutes, an hour or so from this event. But just before we talk about what's happening on the ice, you sort of mentioned the crowds. It really does feel like we're on the verge of a season. And this is such a cool event because this is not something you can pull off or put together during the regular season. And you know what? I think it's great too from a player standpoint. I got a chance to talk to Gabriel Balharry a little bit earlier, and we're going to probably put that together for the show on Monday. But just before we actually got into the conversation, he was just mentioning, how cool it was to see how many people were here, the general excitement around it, and especially for, never mind the guys that are on the team right now, but for the young players, the prospects. It's a little different than a Thursday morning at the start of camp when you have around here. And, I think everyone here gets a little bit of a taste, a little bit of feeling about just how important this team is to this community. And, a perfect opportunity to see the passion that Winnipeg Jet fans do have for their team.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of this during summer development camp with the rookies, the draft picks, that sort of thing. This is like summer development camp on steroids now, because there's 10 times the crowd down here than there was for development camp, and of course all the big stars are here. And you're right, it's hey, there's been a lot of talk lately about Winnipeg as how attractive of a market is it for players, and it's come up again, of course, because of the Connor Hellebuyck, Mark Scheifele situations. Connor Hellebuyck certainly put to rest anybody who thinks that Connor Hellebuck just wants to get out of Winnipeg because he doesn't like it here, he couldn't have been more explicit the other day how much he loves as an outdoorsman. This community has what he loves. And even Alex Iafallo, my new colleague, Kenny Wiebe, had a great one-on-one with Alex yesterday. This is a guy who, of course, has spent a number of years in Southern California. He's a huge outdoorsman, loves surfing, the beach, all that. And Alex Iafallo was telling Kenny yesterday, and he's only been here a couple of weeks. He's already he's gone camping, he's gone hiking, and I
think he was slaying some big ones out at Lockport too on the water.
It looked like
Sarah was saying we went out fishing and did that. And listen, if you're into fishing, that's a world-class place to go and try and
Dustin Bufflin loved this place for the same. Heck, we were just talking to a few of the media guys. Brock Lesnar, one of the biggest, sports.
Lesnar. You can't just say Brock Lesnar.
No, that's true. You need the Paul Heyman. But I mean, Brock Lesnar, Minnesota, Saskatchewan, Manitoba. So, but this, for anybody, for guys that haven't been here before, new Jets, or some of the kids, I imagine a day like today, and especially, this is day 3 of on ice. I'm sure the legs are starting to feel a little heavy. Rick Bowness has been skating them hard the first 2 days, and from what we saw in the morning session today, that's continuing. So for the guys that are probably starting to feel it a bit, I'm sure a crowd like today, and to be treated like rock stars by the fans, that probably gives you a little extra giddy up in the step.
You know who I think might like Fan Fest the best? Bones.
Yeah.
I saw Bones, and he's just so good with people in a one-on-one sense. I mean, this was in the afternoon session. I think he was maybe right before we were going on the air yesterday. And there was just a couple kids that were just kind of sitting there watching the guys that were coming all over, on the way. And then there was Bones, and he sat there, talked to the kid, did the pet on the hat, and said, hey, you got your skates? You got your skates? We need a guy right now. He just had a little fun with them. And I mean, he is, listen, he's been around long enough. He understands what the sort of support that this team gets from the community and how important it is. And I think really leans into it. And that's sort of listen, it's a great leader to have on a bench for a team when, but I think, to be honest, when you look at guys like Adam Lowry and Josh Morrissey, and this team has leaned into these sort of opportunities. They don't come out very often.
Right.
But, and you really want that, I'm sure, both from a fan's perspective, from an organizational perspective, to have buy-in, because to be honest with you, I'm not going to say that this was the case in previous years or anything like that, but different teams have different level of buy-in for this sort of stuff, and I think the Winnipeg Jets are in a good place right now because of that, and I think Bones actually is a big part of it.
Agreed, and good segue, Huss, into a piece that I wrote yesterday, which honestly is one of my favorite stories I've been able to do in a while on the Jets beat, and I sort of took the idea. Mike Babcock's been in the news, obviously, and what he did, completely tone deaf, you name it, on how he tried to, quote, connect with his players. The guy completely whiffed.
He's a sociopath, man.
He is. And the idea of peeping at their phones with the idea of establishing a connection when really it was just a power trip. But, it struck me like Mike Babcock's old school, but Rick Bowness is really old school. He's been around forever. And yet, I've heard it. I remember we were in Dallas last year prior to Jets' first game of the year. Rick he had COVID, so he wasn't there for his homecoming. And I was having a conversation with Tyler Seguin, who actually refers to Rick as a father figure. And he talked about Rick being a guy that just the way he can connect with veterans all the way down to rookies, and some of the things he does, like taking guys out for beers, which Tyler Seguin said you don't see a lot of coaches do that. Morgan Barron, I remember him talking last year about Rick inviting him to come play golf in Nova Scotia last summer. You hear it from players about Rick just checking in during the summer with calls and texts. So yesterday, I actually got a little bit of one-on-one time with Rick Bowness, with Morgan Barron, with Dylan DeMello, and all of them, talked about why it's so important that Rick does that. And a guy like Dylan DeMello summed it up perfectly. As Rick himself said earlier this week, he's not here to win a popularity contest. We know he will hold feet to the fire. Look at the way he called his guys out after the Vegas game. He stripped Blake Wheeler of the cat. Like, he's not afraid to kind of go into the corners, elbows up, and do the tough things. At the same time, as Dylan DeMello said, he does it in a way that you can't help but really respect the guy and kind of want to go to battle for him. I think Dylan DeMello said it best. With Bones, it comes from the right place. And, Rick himself said to me yesterday, I view a hockey team as a family. And he said, it's important to me to get to know my family. And that's these family members, my players, but it's their families as well. And so Rick will do things like send a happy birthday text to a player or a spouse. When a player has a baby, he'll call to see how, new child and spouse are doing.
Well, we're talking about that. How long do you think was the cooling off period at the end of last season?
There might have been
before the texts and calls sort of picked
I'm guessing there might have been a little bit of a grace period there where, and look, I mean, Rick said the other day that, that's 4.5 months ago. That's dealt with, and I believe him because I'm sure there was a cooling off. But what we do know in talking to a bunch of players already this week, Rick Bowness did reach out, and not just once or twice, multiple times with really all his players. And another thing, Dylan DeMello said to me is, and this is a guy who's been in the league almost a decade, he said you'll see coaches have kind of connections with some players, but he said usually it's just the stars. And Dylan DeMello said, I'm not a star. He's talking about himself. And yet Rick always calls to check, and not just check, but he wants to know what I think about certain things. And he said, we're all hockey people. We all have hockey minds. And the fact that Rick's willing to listen to all of us it's welcoming. So I think you're right to your point that Rick loves an event like this because that's just who he is. It's not fake. He's genuinely a good human being. And so a day like today, I'm sure is pretty special for him.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's a lot of guys, in management roles, in coaching roles, in player roles that, to be honest, don't want to do things like this. Bones, though, I mean, he leans into it and makes those moments, as brief as they are with fans, pretty special. And it's been cool to see some of the others. I mean, obviously Nate Schmidt at the top of that list. I mean, he's the ultimate when it comes in. What have you seen? I mean, you've been in around it. You were trying to get through here, to come in here. Just before we talk about the on the ice, off the ice, did you see a bunch of the players? I mean, I think guys have been all over the place, signing autographs and taking pictures and selfies and.
Yeah, I was in and you were, I know, in the room as well late this morning after the morning session, and just talking to Josh Morrissey for a few minutes. Like, he was pumped about the crowd and the excitement level here, and players know that they're about to start playing some preseason games starting tomorrow. Training camp can feel like a bit of a grind, no question about it. So I think a day like today is it has everybody kind of with a bit of a spring in their step, and for sure those connections to the community. Look, Huss, we know that the Jets themselves this summer have tried to reestablish those connections, and I mean, to be perfectly honest, they have to, because this market, as Gary Bettman himself said when the Jets came back in 2011, and to say that it needs to sell out every night, like maybe that was a little hyperbolic, but the fact is the Jets do need a close to a packed building to compete, especially if the cap is going to go up as much.
Yeah. So
they've lost a little bit of that connection. Some of it for reasons they had no control over, again, the pandemic. Some of it, though, I would suggest has been their own doing.
Agreed.
Maybe they took this market a little bit for granted after a while, and why wouldn't you? That for a decade, this team sold itself, win or lose. They knew they had a packed building, right? Well, now they got to put in a little more work. A day like today goes a long way towards, and I go back again to the summer and to see the Rucker McGroartys and the Colby Barlows and the way those guys embraced this. The future's bright.
Yeah, assuming those guys can play, they're picking the right type of guys to come in. And I think, certainly a big part of the choice, and again, a difficult choice as we've talked about for months between Josh and Adam as to who's going to be the captain. I don't think you could have gone wrong either way, but part of the reason why those guys weren't clearly the choices was, a lot about how they lean into it as well. Quickly, KWB, our boy Kenny's water bottle with a very nice super chat. Get yourself a Jets dog, Huss. You earned it for having a Saturday show. Hey, a little bit of extra work today. I mean, not like your namesake Ken, who's taking the day off. I don't know where Ken is right now.
What's the weather right now?
Good union at the Free Press. You come right in, and all of a sudden, you know what? Third day Fan Fest, not coming here. Just joking, Kenny.
It's probably not great golfing weather, so I don't know if Kenny was able to get out today or not. I'm tagging out after today, and I'll be off tomorrow. Kenny's back in.
Okay. Well, he's working Sunday.
Just a 1 day.
He gets 1 day off.
And then we're both back at it on Monday, of course, when we get the first home game down at Canada Life Centre, which should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, hard to believe, man. Like, through all of this, there's a freaking exhibition game tomorrow night in Edmonton. And if you were wondering where you can see it, it will be on the Jets platforms. I believe the website. I would assume probably their YouTube channel as well. If you go to WinnipegJets.com, it will all be there. We're sort of into camp, and we'll have some more time to talk about this next week. But without any hot takes and this guy's great, this guy sucks. What has stood out to you about camp so far? And certainly Bones making sure these guys are going to be in shape to start the season.
For sure, the amount of skating. To me, Huss, one of the early storylines is just the top 12, the 4 forward lines are almost seemingly set in stone at this point. And I don't know that we've ever seen that before, where you knew on day one, we joked about tweeting out the line combinations and how much you can read into them. When it comes to the forward lines, I think you can read everything into them. Now, Nikolai Ehlers, of course, unfortunately got neck spasms just a few minutes into his first skate. And he's not skating again today. This will be the second day that he's been entirely off the ice. Rick Bowness did say the other day there's nothing to be concerned long term. I suspect Nikolai Ehlers is not playing tomorrow or probably Monday either. That being said, there's so much clarity, it would seem, to the forward lines that it's created a scenario where almost the only forward battle is for the 13th spot. And I had a chat with David Gustafson this morning, who would certainly be one of the guys, one of the many. There's probably 6 or 7 guys that are in a fight to be that. And obviously with injuries, I mean, you can move up. But the way Rick Bowness set his 4 lines to start, contrast that with what he's done on the blue line, where I think we can surmise who what the top 6 probably is, but he's got Elias Salmonson with Josh Morrissey, he's got Brendan Dillon with Ty Bauer.
Hard not to watch Bauer out there with Dillon, and you imagine what a defense pairing would be like. Like that going forward. And obviously, I think Bauer's still got some development.
It would be a Brian Burke would enjoy watching those guys play.
Certainly.
Whereas there's really no experimentation going on at forward. It's pretty cut and dry. Okay, here's our NHL guys, and here's our bubble guys. The D, that's been more of a blend, and we'll probably see that in the first couple preseason games. But it really. Rick Bowness had so many options on how he could configure these forward lines. It was interesting to see what he did off the hop. And of course, until we actually see them in game action, it's hard to get a read on these little drills, what lines look like. I will say one guy that he's popped out to me a little bit is Rasmus Kupari. He's a guy we, of course, haven't really seen. Tons of speed. Has a really good shot. He had a couple just wicked snipes during this morning's skate.
Bigger than I thought.
Yeah, he is, for sure.
I mean, not a skyscraper or anything like that, but
right. And he's a guy, he does not shy away from contact at all. In fact, he told me the other day he enjoys the physical element. And, it's created a scenario, Huss, when you look at who these 12 forwards are, there's the potential for all of them to be in double digits in goals. I mean, I'm talking even the fourth, if Morgan Barron, Vlad Nemestikov, Rasmus Kupari, if that's your fourth line, there's some pop there. I mean, that's not just throwing three grinders out to eat up a few minutes a game. So, I mean, we knew this forward group was deep. I think now that we're kind of seeing it on the ice, it's a reminder of how deep it is. And, there's a lot of options for Rick Bowness. So I think that, but, just looking at camp as a whole, for sure, the amount of skating and a lot of battle drills are happening here. Yesterday, the intensity really picked up, and it started with the captain. Adam Lowry was throwing the body, and, he had a couple thunderous checks. And I guess when your captain is doing that, it certainly everybody else wants to follow.
People notice.
You can see it ratchet up. And obviously guys aren't out here trying to hurt their teammates. At the same time, you don't want to just tiptoe into camp. I get the sense, and it goes back to what you've said before, Huss, I think there's a recognition of an importance, of an urgency to the situation and to how they start. This team knows that how the first couple months go is going to go a long way to
it means everything
answering
this year.
A number of questions.
It means everything this year, as far as the direction that the team goes, the big decisions that need to be made. Sure. And I mean, certainly, if you're one of those guys that's a skater that, wants to do everything you can to keep Connor Hellebuck around, go and have a great start, make him say, he's a big guy. I mean, we'll play this just this week, but a great chat with Balharry today, and I just sort of asked him about the team. He says, this is a hell of a good team. Yeah. I remember playing against them. He said to me straight up, because he thought that they were going to beat Vegas. He said, obviously, you lose Scheifele and you lose Morrissey, and the team was in a bit of a situation. And I mean, that series wasn't that close afterwards. But again, I guess it was. I mean, we think about that game that was 4-1. Well, double overtime. Right. An unfortunate play by Dylan Sandberg that ended up, and that was sort of they never recovered from that. They did, obviously.
And they were short-staffed, and at that point, Vegas grabbed the momentum. But you're right, Huss. Game 1 and even the first period of Game 2, I honestly thought through 4 periods the Jets were going to run the Golden Knights right out of the playoffs.
Dude, after, full disclosure, I'm out with a bunch of friends watching that game. And, after the first game, we were like, wow, that's the best we've seen the Jets look at any point this season. After the first period of Game 2, I turned around, we might go 16-0. Like it was that good. Now, unfortunately, Vegas woke up, and certainly they had the pushback to use one of the words of 2023. We're going to see about that coming up. Do we have any idea about who's going to be making the trip tomorrow? What sort of lineup the Jets will be icing in Edmonton?
Yeah, I mean, so we should get the official lineup later this afternoon. Just going on how the Jets have usually approached this, normally they want to put a little more star power at home. So I suspect we're going to probably see, I'd be shocked if the Scheifele line is playing at Edmonton tomorrow. I suspect they'll be playing on Monday here in Winnipeg. Same thing with Connor Hellebuck. I expect Connor Hellebuck will be in net on Monday, not tomorrow. What wouldn't surprise me, Huss, and again, I'm just speculating, I'm guessing the Adam Lowry line, that might be the top line tomorrow in Edmonton. Adam Lowry, because he knows what his job is, he actually, some might call him a masochist for this. He enjoys, because the Jets usually do play in Edmonton every preseason. Typically, Adam Lowry wants that game because there's a good chance Connor McDavid is going to play for his home fans. I can assure you, Connor McDavid will not be playing here on Monday night. I don't think I'm going out on a limb.
He's not playing both ends of back-to-backs to the first
probably
week of
not.
preseason?
And I'm guessing the Oilers, they're going to take care of their fan base more than Winnipeg's fan base by having the game's best player play in Winnipeg. That being said, Adam Lowry, I think he would be saying to Rick Bowness, if McDavid's playing, I want to play. Because Adam Lowry would want to match up. I mean, it's just the preseason, but that's what
you want to practice shutting somebody
Absolutely.
down. Go up again. It's like going into a bar. Oh, you want to get some reps in? Go punch the biggest guy in the
For
face
sure.
and see what happens.
So I really wonder if the Lowry line and the Kupari, which is the fourth line, if those are actually the top two lines tomorrow that they send to Edmonton, and then on Monday maybe the Scheifele and the Perfetti line, and then you fill out the roster so nobody's going to play back-to-back, and then it's just your bubble guys are the third and fourth line tomorrow, and more bubble guys, and maybe some of the same bubble guys get both games because you really want to. I suspect, Huss, there's some players here, whether it's David Gustafsson, Jansen Harkins, they might get in as close to all 6 games because they want to see as much from those guys as possible.
Okay, Mike, let me ask you this, and this is definitely going to be the why not question of the day for not Autocorp, but Waverly and McGillivray. Throughout the week with our different guests, the local guys, who is the 13th forward? If we're assuming the top 12 is the top 12, and we're doing a power poll for that spot on the roster, where are you at right now before the preseason games have begun?
Right. So I'll answer it by first identifying the prime candidates, and then because I do have someone in mind. Axel Jonsson-Fjällby, clearly a guy that once the Jets got him on waivers last year, he remained with the team, and they re-signed him this summer. So he's for sure a candidate. Dominic Toninato, for sure, a guy with obviously some NHL pedigree. Jeffrey Viel, a guy that nobody knows much about, but he's got NHL games. And
150 penalty minutes last year.
And they signed him on July 1, and Kevin Cheveldayoff, I remember that day, he made it sound like we're signing this guy to be on our NHL roster, not an AHL. So Jansen Harkins, a guy that he would require waivers again. You could argue he's proven himself to be too good for the AHL, right? He was a point-a-game player. So, and David Gustafsson, the Gus Bus, I would say those are your 5 prime candidates. Harkins, Gustafsson, Toninato, Jonsson-Fjällby, and Viel.
Who guess you're not today?
And likely only one is staying, because if you're keeping Logan Stanley and Declan Chisholm or Kyle Capobianco, if you're keeping 8D, you can only keep 13 forwards. That said, I do think David Gustafsson is the most likely to be the 13th forward. Couple reasons. Number one, he's drafted and developed. Yes, Jansen Harkins is as well. He can play center. He can kill penalties. And I also think, Huss, they know David Gustafsson would likely not get through waivers. Those other guys, Dominic Toninato, Jonsson-Fjällby, Jeffrey Viel, and even maybe Jansen Harkins, I just think David Gustafsson, because of his age and maybe the fact he hasn't always had a full opportunity to, I think he's a guy, he was the Moose MVP 2 seasons ago. I just think Gustafsson probably does have the inside edge, but it's a battle. There's no question about it.
Yeah, and because of how deep the team is right now, and again, the loss of Dubois, maybe makes the team a little less top heavy.
Right.
But certainly I think 1 to 12, they're certainly a lot deeper, but there's a trickle down effect.
That's how you
to that.
win in this league. I mean, stars for sure. The Jets still have some superstars, but depth is the name of the game. And as the season goes on,
Cassidy was throwing his 4th line out to start all those games.
For sure.
I mean, they had roles, and those guys got a big part about it.
Sorry, Huss, just to speak to the depth again, we're not even mentioning guys like Christian Reichel, Jeff Malott.
Reichel has looked great.
He has looked great. Brad Lambert and Chaz Lucius, who could Nikita Chibrikov, Henry Nikkanen, Daniel Torgerson. I'll say this, if all these guys can get through waivers that the Jets send out, the Moose could have a hell of a team.
Yeah.
Like, we talk about the Jets' depth, the Moose forward depth could be something to behold as well at the AHL level.
Obviously, following the goaltending battles, I mean, DiVincentis, I'm sure will be back in the OHL this year. But we'll see about Milic.
Salmonen, Delia.
But hey, before we go, let me ask you about, because I've seen more of I can't remember which is Solani, which is Newman, but the group with
they keep flip-flopping them,
Scheifele and Villardi and
Newman.
Connor. So the Solani group is the one. What have you seen from Cole so far? I know everyone's been paying attention.
He's quicker. Cole Perfetti is definitely quicker. He talked with us about the fact that that's something he worked on. He changed his training this summer, and he obviously, with the idea of trying to play as many, if not all, 82 games this season, and I think we're seeing that speed, that quickness. Maybe hasn't always been there. Cole Perfetti will never be Nikolai Ehlers. There's no question. He's never going to be a speed demon out there. But getting a little bit quicker to go with what we already know, Huss, is like an elite hockey IQ, hockey sense. The way he processes and reads the game is top notch. The fact that it looks like he's a little quicker, and from everything he's told us, a little bit stronger, a little bit hopefully more durable. I think there's great potential for him in that center ice position. Now, unfortunately, again, we haven't really been able to see the full line with Niederreiter and Ehlers, because Ehlers was only out for a few shifts, and then they had a placeholder in Jilkin yesterday. I haven't seen yet who's out as the placeholder today. Get over to that rink shortly. But the fact is that could be a really interesting second line. And Cole Perfetti, very excited to get that first crack at the second line center job. And I think Cole Perfetti, based on everything we know about this kid, Huss, he's going to work his tail off to ensure that he remains at that position.
Yeah, well, that is certainly one of the big stories of training camp so far. And what happens with that line? He's huge, and obviously, we had a great chat with Gabe this morning. I think Gabe's feeling pretty good about the opportunity he's got playing with Scheifele.
Yeah, nice welcome to Winnipeg. Here's our 42-goal scorer from last year, and the guy that almost scored 50 the year before. Have fun.
He said Kyle Connor is one of the best, maybe the best, offensive players that he's seen, in person, playing with right now. He was very, very complimentary. We'll have that for everybody on Monday's show. So I guess that group's actually going out.
They just hit the ice
shortly.
A few minutes ago, so I don't believe Nikolai Ehlers is skating today. We'll see who they've put in as a placeholder. And what'll be interesting to see, Huss, is if the Perfetti line, let's say they play Monday, I'm guessing Nikolai Ehlers might not be ready to go yet. So someone's probably going to get a chance to maybe play with Perfetti and Niederreiter in at least one preseason game. It was Jilkin yesterday in that spot. But certainly, that's a line that I think the Jets will be counting on to do some offensive damage. And Cole Perfetti, if he can stay mobile and upright this season, he could be primed for a real big season for sure.
Mike, great stuff. What are you and the new improved wrecking crew of the Freed Pav coming up over the next few days?
Well, Kenny's going to have game one coverage for us tomorrow. We're not in Edmonton for this one. We'll be covering that remotely. But I know Kenny had a great chat with the Pionki Tonk man yesterday as well.
Yes.
And he had, remember we talked so much about, is Neil Pionk injured and what's going on last year? And I always said he was healthy.
Yeah.
I don't want to give away Kenny's story, but I will say that Neil Pionk was pretty candid and pretty revealing in the one-on-one he had with Kenny yesterday about some of what was going on last season. So I know Kenny's got that coming up. We'll just keep pumping out the feed-throughs and the stories.
I'm looking forward to reading that, because as I mentioned to you on this on our program and chats before, I'm not sure there's a player on this team that if they can, raise their level of play and have a big bounce back year, they can have more of effect on the success of the Jets than Neil Pionk. In his role, he will be playing a lot. And we saw him. I mean, he had 7 points in 5 games in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He had a good last couple of weeks.
He was terrific in that.
The big issue was just some of the giveaways and turnovers and whatnot.
And
earlier.
I do think,
Huss,
that's the one D pair we can really read into. Dylan Sandberg has been with Neil Pionk all 3 days. I think you can put that one down in probably permanent ink. That's what's going to be Winnipeg's second pair to start. Good chance it's not Morrissey and Salmonson. It's probably Morrissey and DeMello. DeMello's with Chisholm right now. Probably just to, again, give the kid a veteran presence. I expect it's going to be DeMello with Morrissey, Sandberg and Pionk, and then Dylan and probably Schmidt as your third pair. But you're right. If Neil Pionk... Look, if Rick Bowness... he was a bit of the defense whisperer with Josh Morrissey last year, right? Before the year started, he told Josh, we're going to get you, you're going to be top 10 in Norris balloting this year, and Josh finished 5th. If Rick Bowness and staff could do some of that same work with Neil Pionk that they did with Josh Morrissey, then I agree. I think that could be a huge development for Winnipeg.
No doubt about it. Mike, great stuff. Thanks for popping by. Great to see you. And now you can go negotiate the traffic of fans.
Looks like it's subsided in the lobby here a little bit. Everyone's in the rink. So, we'll see what the rest of the day brings. But always good to chat. We'll see you next week.
Perfect. Hey, do me a favor when you walk out. Tell Balls to rip over here.
Right on.
Thanks, Rod. He's just sitting there waiting in the bullpen as we go. If you're just jumping on and you're going, what the heck are these guys doing on Saturday? Just a little impromptu live from Jets Fan Fest edition of Winnipeg Sports Talk. Really nice of Mike to jump on with us. And as I said, Kyle Balharry is going to jump on with us right away. I'm just going to get a little taste of what they've got planning for the upcoming part of the season. Now Mike's got to go find balls. You had a visitor while you came in.
Yeah, my son.
Pretty excited Remis crew.
My son Evan came. And my wife, I don't know, she wasn't thinking. She didn't put him in any Jets gear. He's wearing a black hoodie. She didn't realize it was Jets Fan Fest. He's here. He saw one of his friends. He's got a Jets t-shirt on. She's like, I should have put him in Jets gear. I didn't think about it. I guess, we got 2 kids. You're worried about getting everything done, and pretty funny. So nice to see him. There are a lot of bouncy castles here for kids. Great talking to Mike. Speaking of Mike, I need to read this article, Ken's one-on-one with Neil Pionk.
No doubt.
I know I'm not on camera, by the way. We're waiting for Balls to step in. But this one-on-one with Neil Pionk, because I said last year, Neil Pionk needs to have a big season. He was injured the year before, and he thought it was going to happen, and it didn't. And then this past year, you didn't see Neil Pionk at his best. He did have maybe the best game of his life in that playoff game where Josh Morrissey got hurt. But I need to read that because we thought there was something going on, and you asked him at the end of the year, he's like, no, it's just normal bumps and bruises. Yeah. But you knew there was more. Other teams were revealing full injuries. The Jets declined too.
That was actually a little weird.
And it kind of bothered me that they didn't. So I want to read this. Thank you, Ken, for getting into that. Now I'll shut up and Balls can come in.
Right on, Balls. And what an entrance that was. Now we've got you. What an entrance that was, throwing the WST sticker on your forehead. That was one of those ones not in. Mike did a good job. Can you hear me, though?
I can hear you not through the microphone. There we go. Remis, you've done it.
Yes.
You've done it.
Okay, Mike, I think Mike just powered through the whole time. He pointed something. I was like, you good? He's like, yeah, I'm good. But I'm
a great communicator.
It wasn't plugged in all the way.
I could have read your guys' lips, but this is much better now, for sure.
Oh, Mike, why didn't he say anything? He's such a nice guy.
Professional. He's a great professional. Full introductions our good friend Kyle Ballharry, director of game ops for the Winnipeg Jets. This seems like a big success for the organization today. A great turnout. The vibes are good around the Iceplex, or the Hockey for All Center.
Absolutely, and I mean, you know what? It's we put these events on every year, and it's awesome because there's way more people here this year. Not that we haven't had great turnouts in the past, but you know, it's a long summer. There's, you know, ups and downs of the season, and then you come out here to Fan Fest and you realize that the spirit of hockey and the spirit of the game and the spirit of being Winnipeggers and community and supporting your team it's rocking. Like, there's smiles everywhere. There's young, there's old, there's, you know, traditional fans, there's new fans. You know, we have tons of new Canadians here this year that we haven't had in other years. It's been amazing.
You know what? I'm glad you mentioned that because not only did it stand out to me, and to be honest, we're seeing more and more of a diverse crew of people that are listening to our program, like the people that have come around here. And I'm not sure. I mean, listen, Winnipeg has changed, you know, over the time when we were starting out with the Moose.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, our city, the demographics have changed. But I'll tell you what, there has been, you know, it's been awesome to see. I mean, folks from particularly what's stood out to me is the folks from the Filipino community and the South Asian community that were part of the, you know, the Knights last year. And
absolutely.
listen, there were obviously tons of fans from those communities beforehand, but I'm not sure whether that little bit more of outreach has maybe got some more people to say, hey, I'm going to make Fan Fest a part of our schedule and you know, and get ready for the upcoming season. And that really is what this is about. I mean, it's the one time all year you really have the opportunity to get the team and the players in this sort of an environment where they've got a little bit more time to sign some autographs and take some pictures and do all of that. But the other part of it is that it gives the chance for the fans to kind of realize, okay, hockey season's back. You get, you know, a really unique opportunity to take advantage of some of the cool things you've done, but realize that I still can't believe you've got an exhibition game tomorrow night, home game on Monday. Hope you got the script ready.
It's ready.
And then we're going to be playing hockey for real coming up in just a couple weeks. So it's time to go.
Well, and you know, I mean, it's awesome that we're taking an extra step here, I think, to invite people to an event because, you know, hockey has started. The season is here. The fever is here. People across the city and the province are taking their kids to hockey tryouts. Like, new skates have been bought, new sticks have been bought. Like, it's hockey season, and I think an event like this, you know, just allows everyone to all of a sudden realize, holy cow, hockey is back. And the summer's, you know, not officially over. Well, I guess summer's over, but fall is here. But as far as I know, ever since I've been a kid living in Winnipeg, when the weather turns, it's time for hockey, and I think that's what we're feeling here today. Just the overall excitement for our team, for the Moose, for the Jets, and just for hockey and the spirit overall in the city.
Here we are, the new third jersey, and obviously you go way back to the Moose days. This, you know, a lot of it, I mean, Mark spoke to it, that connection with the 1948 RCAF Olympic champions, when the team became the Winnipeg Jets, really leaned on that 2008 Moose jersey, and I know they did a very similar one, 21-22, with the Angry Moose on it. But you know, certainly here, a lot of people have been loving it. Like anything on social media, it's either people love it or people can't stand it. But the reaction was quite good, and a lot of people, the timing was great. You watch the thing get done, you turn around, and they were getting rolled out into a Blackmore's portable store this afternoon.
I know, right? And you know, even being in the building for the jersey unveil, you know, for the people that weren't here or didn't catch it online, there was a giant cheer from the crowd here when the players came out and unveiled the jersey, and we ran the video. And I mean, connecting a jersey to something meaningful rather than it just being a fashion piece, it means a lot, you know, being able to connect it back to that RCAF team. And you mentioned 2008. I remember when we wore the jersey, there was just an avalanche of people that loved it, and they thought it was so cool. And ever since we've worn it, quite frankly, back then, I think a lot of us that have been around that long have been maybe waiting for the day that this broke out.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I think back to, and I guess at that time, I had just sort of moved on and was doing the Hockey Canada stuff and finishing out after the 07 World Women's. I was still close enough to the team to, you know, realize like the different ones that the Moose had done. And I have to think that was the most popular alternate jersey the Moose had done, and certainly it had some legs.
Yeah.
And in a lot of ways, it was sort of the inspiration for the initial Winnipeg Jets jersey. And I know you're a big old school hockey guy. What do you think of the brown gloves?
They're amazing, right? And I think there's, I think some of our other players, maybe some goalies, might be participating in some of the brown equipment potentially too.
That would be
I can't
great.
guarantee that, but I've heard some rumblings that they might be getting into it as well. And I mean, we just saw that it's such a beautiful accent to it, and I mean, it pops. It's different, right? There's no other jerseys out there like it that any NHL team has won, and to connect it to the RCAF Flyers and. Man, connected to the 100-year anniversary of the RCAF.
Yeah.
Like it works so well.
What do you have cooking coming up for? I mean, obviously the exhibition games. I guess is Wednesday the night with the season ticket holder appreciation night.
Yep.
So anything people should know about that one? There might be a few people like myself doing last-minute ticket breaks. And, at the end you're picking. I mean, people usually don't care which exhibition games they go to, but that might be the one to be at. Give us a little taste of what's coming up on that Wednesday show.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, right? Because it's the start of the season, and I mean, you got new videos, you've got new players, you've got new headshots, and a whole bunch of different things. It's not the regular season as we're gearing up for that, right? So some stuff won't exist in the preseason, but the fact of the matter is, there's an NHL hockey game happening, and it's the Edmonton Oilers versus the Winnipeg Jets Monday night in Winnipeg, right? And I mean, to me, after all the years of loving hockey, and we've shared so many great memories together, the excitement of the game itself is still, for me, what gets me the most excited,
but I mean,
right?
the season ticket holder game, the one on the Wednesday, I think there is going to be some stuff that is not happening at the other games.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, we'll have some offers for the season ticket holders there. We've got a season ticket holder singing the anthem. We had it last year, which was a really cool young lady, and she's going to knock it out of the park on Monday night, or on Wednesday night, sorry. Just overall, we're going to honor the season ticket members. We'll have a bunch of giveaways. It's kind of like our fan appreciation night that we have later in the year, but this one is specifically for our season ticket members, and thank them for all their dedication and gearing up for another amazing season here.
Yeah, so 2 games this week, Monday night, like 48 or 54 hours away. I don't know, do the math, 50, 52. So something at 48 plus whatever it is for now until 7 for game number 1 at home. That's the game against Edmonton, and against the back-to-back Sunday night tomorrow 5 p.m. The game is going to be on winnipegjets.com if you want to watch the game tomorrow night. Then home game on Monday, home game on Wednesday. That's that season ticket holder appreciation game. And then one more game the following week. And then it's time to get it to Calgary to fire it up. And then home opener, afternoon game, 3 p.m., Florida Panthers and our old pal Paul Maurice coming in after their run to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Don't forget about Kevin Stenlin.
Yeah, Stanny. Hey, I'm a big Stanny guy.
Tribute video, Stanny?
Yeah. How long is that tribute video going to be? You better give the proper. He did have 2. Didn't he have 2 in one game?
Well, it's an interesting thing, right? Because I think if you play for the Winnipeg Jets, you're always a Winnipeg Jet, and you should always be welcome back here. And so traditionally, no matter how grand it is, right? We got Blake Wheeler coming back on the 30th.
Oh yeah.
You can expect something pretty grand there for him. But, welcoming back someone like Kevin Stenlin, like maybe you only played 1 year, but he connected with a bunch of fans. You really liked him. He spent a year in Winnipeg. He did community events. He was able to get out. And we always think it's worth, maybe it's not a giant tribute video, but it's a little bit just to say thanks for your time here.
What about game number 2 against the Kings, which is the first game of the WST ticket pack? By the way, if you don't normally catch the shows during the week, we do have a 4-game ticket pack. Great response from Winnipeg Sports Talk listeners. The first game is that game against the Kings, and I can tell you that our group in 316 and 317 might be less welcoming to one. And by the way, Pierre-Luc Dubois is no longer Pierre-Luc Dubois. He now goes by PL Dubois, and he just preferred to be PL. I don't know what it is. Yoel Armia once he left here, and now Pierre-Luc. But anyways, go to winnipegsportstalk.com. There's a link there if you want to check it out and maybe get a couple seats with us. It's that Kings game, and then McDavid and the Oilers in November. Leaf game Saturday night, which I believe might be one of the alternate jersey nights. And then for Thursday against Calgary in April, which should be a good one. So it's all there. Link in the description. Join us. Should be a lot of fun. And,
hey, back to the home opener for a quick second. I know that the goal songs were a big hit with a lot of fans last year.
I'm glad you reminded me. I wanted to ask you about this.
Yes. So from what I understand is a lot of the players are going to want new goal songs this year. Not that they didn't love last year, but they've had a year to think about it, and I think
there's some that could have been much better, as we've told you.
So I think we might get a new batch, but this year what we'll do is on opening night when we're introducing all the players out of the ZAM tunnel one by one, you'll hear their goal song at that time too. So, it'll be the excitement of welcoming the player, but also hearing the goal song at that time.
I'm so glad you dropped that, and I knew, Rico, you were going to be fired up.
Oh, man, the new goal. Okay, is Scheifele changing his? Hustler complained about Scheifele's all the time. I mean...
Listen, the name itself, like The Greatest Showman, the name of the song is great. The song itself, bottom of the Jets power poll for goal songs. So you can pass that on. Hopefully that'll be one of the ones that's changed.
I think last year it was a new concept. Some of them maybe didn't fully understand how it would play out, but now that they've seen it for a year, they're like, okay, I got to change my song. Yeah, I need something different, right?
This is good.
So yeah.
So who is, who isn't? I guess we'll have to wait and see for opening night.
Well, for sure. So and again, get there early. Always a great show.
Oh, and hey, we have the Plaza Party as well, starting at noon at the home opener. So noon at True North Square, 2 till 2:30. Food and beverage, bands, DJs, giveaways, all out on the Plaza Party. 12 till 2:30.
Yeah.
What did I say?
I said 2 till 2:30. That's a pretty,
12 till
brief.
12 till 2:30. Yes. And then game times at 3 with warm up starting at 2:30.
Awesome. Well, listen. Shout out to the staff. I mean, it was all hands on deck today. Not only amongst management, but I mean, it seems pretty much everyone from the org was here today. Pull on the rope in some ways, and listen,
well, and you guys were here too.
The turnout. I mean, it was fun to be a part of it. I mean, what would we call it? Brand activation.
Yeah, this is our first real brand activation.
It's a marketing term.
It's a marketing term.
I think it's great, man, because and we've done it at our Jetstown takeovers or whatever it might be. There's, our city, our province gets hung up a lot, of course, on the wins and losses, and the emotion rides pretty high. But then you come out here and see the actual faces of the kids and the people that love the team and what it means for them to support and be a part of something. Feel that, they see a friend wearing a jersey, they see a teacher, and it connects people together. And I'm so happy you guys are here. I'm happy that the other folks were here in the media as well, because you don't maybe get to see the joy of what hockey brings and the team brings right in front, because everyone's so worried about the wins and losses, which is cool. But, you see the heart of the game, and you see this little girl here wearing this jersey, and you realize that she loves the Jets, and she's going to love them forever,
They're fired up in the bouncy castle and everything else here. You had such an amazing intro. Do you want to put this back on your forehead to leave, or forehead? There you go. Our friend Kyle Balharry. Thanks for doing this, buddy.
Thanks, bud.
Hey, good luck with the season. I know this is a busy time for everyone in your department right now. And we'll be talking about those goal songs. That'll be an extra great reason to get out to that home opener.
For sure. And it's all worth it, Huss, right? You feel it every day, too. It's all worth it. It's all worth having the love and the excitement. And this fact that we've got an NHL hockey game on Monday night still thrills me to this day.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. We'll be there for game number 1 right through until 82. Never mind the preseason. Thanks for doing this, and have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, you guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
There's Kyle Balharry, our good pal, director of game ops for the Winnipeg Jets. Remo, this has been fun. By the way, we've got to give a shout out to everybody in the chat. I know I was sort of doing this just now, but that was one heck of a turnout right now to everyone that joined us. Just looking at it. Oh, there's T. Konopali. Shout out Bones. Joe from Winnipeg. Ballsy is a great guy. He is a beaut. Great stuff. Geez, Balls, you're getting a lot of love in the chat from the WSTers. And we go way back. And you can feel that sort of passion for the gig, for the job, and just what this team means to the community. And Remis, congratulations for having the only kid in this entire place without a Jets shirt or something.
I thought it was implied that my wife would put him in his jersey. He's got a couple jerseys. couple jerseys as well. He's wearing a Marvin the Martian black hoodie. Maybe the only one here.
He's a nice hat though. He's got a nice lid.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to find. One thing I've noticed, really hard to find like good, at least good to me, hats for children who aren't an infant and are not like 7.
Nice.
So he's 4.
What was the hat? I just saw
it was Air Jordan. It was the Jordan logo.
Oh,
sick
wow.
hat. Yeah, took me forever to find it.
Listen, the Jordan people have known how to squeeze parents for a lot of money for things for a long time. I'm not surprised at all that you got caught up in that racket very early in your parents' career.
There's Jordan. There's so much kids Jordan stuff, so that's pretty good. But yeah,
and they have no clue either. But you guys, hey, my kid's cool. Look at this Jordan logo.
He's got a sick Jordan hat. So, I mean, this is awesome being here. A lot of people coming up to us, saying hi, checking out what we're doing.
As I said, I mean, kissing babies, signing autographs, taking photos. I mean, just it's another day. I see Evans. The shoes are off, and that is a nice Marvin. And the hat's off too.
Here, do you want to?
That's off here.
Evan, you want to come and say hi? Here, I'll take him.
Special guest appearance.
What?
Just take his socks.
Oh, his socks got all wet. The floors are so wet here.
What a way to here. You can just sit back here a little bit.
Sure, we'll sit
back.
back.
May as well get down.
Evan, you want to say hi?
Pop on for give a wave to the camera. See everybody. There it is. See, you know what? That's what it's all about. Fan Fest.
Yeah.
Even Reem Jr. is here. Obviously, Leah. What? Don't you have 2 kids? What happened to?
Yeah, she's
Sadie. No, not here.
She's Bob and Chip.
Yeah, she's too
okay,
young.
there we go.
She's
There
young.
we go. Nicely done.
Evan, you having fun here?
Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you go on? Bouncy Castle?
Yeah.
Yeah, very.
Good time. Did you see the Jets out on the ice?
No, you're here for the bouncy castle.
Yeah. What about food?
You have any food here?
Nothing yet. I think they sold out of hot dogs. So
He starts skating lessons again next month. So exciting, right? You excited to start skating again?
get the blades back on. Oh, look at this special guest star of the show, Evan, and you the Marvin the Martian shirt. I mean, he was regretting you not wearing one of your Jets jerseys, but still a pretty good look today.
Here, I'll put him.
Who's that, Marv?
What do you got? What shirt do you have underneath here? What's this one?
Got to reveal.
What's it? Hot Wheels. Yeah, Hot Wheels number 2.
Everyone loves the Hot Wheels. Definitely very much worthwhile being out here. And again, just being able to connect with everyone and feel the good vibes heading into the preseason. I can't believe there's a game tomorrow.
That is crazy that there is a game. I am gearing up for NFL, but yes, Jets preseason 5 o'clock on what? Jets YouTube or WinnipegJets.com?
Yeah, WinnipegJets.com.
And so I can have that open.
I was bitching about the fact that it's 9 early games and 3 late games.
Perfect.
And
they knew.
I'm not sure about the late games being that very good. But I'll tell you what, we'll have a game to watch, so we'll kind of be paying attention to that. And then I think there's a good night game tomorrow, isn't there?
Is there? The NFL? I thought you were talking about the night game like NHL. You know that NHL preseason game yesterday? A real preseason
game. Dude, no
game.
kidding. I only knew about that because our boy Dennis Bernstein, of course he did, made the trip. Oh, yeah, Steelers-Raiders tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Wait a second. This is only showing 2 late games. Oh, no, sorry, Chiefs.
Yeah.
Okay, well, the Chiefs are at 3:25. That's why even though they play the Bears. You know the Chiefs who used to be, like, I remember a season where they played 16 noon games.
Really?
Last week, their only noon game for the rest of the season.
Oh, my God.
So they're going late. They're on
they gotta give them the prime TV slots.
Prime game, and then obviously a bunch of prime
games. They're gonna
well.
dominate tomorrow.
Yeah, they should. But again, I know there are a lot of people who have come up and said, hey, are the Chiefs going to cover tomorrow? So many times they've played teams that are completely out of their league and they just keep them in. Bears have had like a completely disastrous week, so I don't know what to expect. But if you're taking the Chiefs, do it at your peril. Survivor pool, no problem. Covering 12.5 or 13, I don't know. That's going to do it for us, though. Little impromptu pop-up. Hope everyone enjoyed it. I did get a chance to pop into the room and spend a good, 5-7 minutes with Gabriel Balharry about his first few days as a Winnipeg Jet. So we will have that for you on Monday's program, as well as a recap of the first road preseason game, and hard to believe, man, that's going to be a game day show. First home preseason game is Monday night.
Wow.
So get ready for it, and we'll be all over it on the show.
Yeah, and we can recap Sunday's game, too. Talk NFL. We haven't even mentioned CFL. We'll start getting ready for Bombers, Argos. And the Bombers, well, we've learned yesterday they're going to get a home playoff game. I mean, we kind of already knew that, but BC won.
It's official.
And they're tied, and it just means so much more for that game where they go head-to-head in a couple weeks.
Just quickly before we go on a CFL note, if anybody watched the Lock Shop, all week I was all geared up to take the Elks plus 7.5. The line moved to plus 6.5.
Okay.
And so Dusty and I have been talking about this all week long. So I'm not sure if you caught the end of the game, but the Elks got it to 6 and then got the ball back. Well, they went 3-0, and BC got the ball in their own zone. So basically got to a third down. There was still about a minute or so left. So they kicked the field goal to go up 9. And I'm like, oh my God, I thought we had the backdoor cover. Well, Edmonton gets the ball back after the field goal. They go down to about center field, and then Trey Ford ran and then went down with 7 seconds left.
Yeah.
And Chris Jones pulled to Sean McVay and sent the field goal kicker out.
And he missed it.
Dusty, he missed it. Yeah, but Dusty goes, wow, they're sending whatever the kicker is, the teacup guy out.
Yeah.
Out to kick the field goal. And Dusty in his classic goes, this is going to be important for some people watching this game. And I'm sitting there going, I cannot believe this is happening after all the talk about McVay. Chris Jones is doing it. And then he missed the damn field goal. So it was great getting a few picks here with the gang. But anyways, I appreciated Chris Jones going for that kick last night. And it's going to give us lots to talk about in the Lock Shop. By the way, if you're looking for those NFL picks, yesterday's Lock Shop is up on the Edmonton Sports Talk YouTube channel. Get on over there and check it up. Should be a fun day tomorrow. NFL football, first Jets exhibition game. And then Remo, first game day show of the year on Monday. Great stuff. A big thanks to all of you that joined us for this quick impromptu Saturday show. Shout out to the Illegal Curve guys who were here bright and early. We had a great time with earlier today. And especially thanks to everyone that came by, said hi, let us know that they're listening and following the show here today at Winnipeg Jets Fan Fest. He's 2:11. How long has this show been on for? What's our time?
We did an hour 15. This was awesome.
Really?
This was perfect. We saw the jersey reveal. We wanted to wait until that. And then we had the jersey. I thought everyone was looking at us. They were looking at the jersey you hung it from our sign.
Yes.
Behind here. So this has been so much fun. People are coming. People seem to be, they can't really hear us, but they like that we're doing a show.
Speaking of our guys, and you know what? Andrew from LaSalle.
Yeah, what's up,
OG, 1290 caller. Used to always drive Rick crazy when we'd bring him on at the end of the program, and then he'd ask me if I was going to wrestling on Friday or something like that. But he's an absolute beauty, like so many of you are. All right, folks, have a great Saturday night. Enjoy your Sunday. Join us Monday at 1 p.m. for the latest from Jets training camp, and get ready for preseason game number 1 at home for your Winnipeg Jets. For Michael Remis, I'm Andrew Paterson. Thanks to all the sponsors that make Winnipeg Sports Talk happen every day, and all of you for making us a part of yours. See you on Monday at 1. Have a great rest of the weekend.
Oh my God! Oh! Shut it down! Let's go home!
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.